Welcome again, everybody. Tonight we're going to have another ghost story. So get comfortable and don't shit yourself, because this story might be true. Who knows? Okay, welcome again, everybody. Welcome to another spooky story night with me, Wushu Richard. Ooh, so spooky. Yeah. Tonight I'm going to tell you a story like none other. It's a sci-fi horror. A long time ago there was a group of astronauts who went missing in space and they never returned. Now the specific space station, or the space organisation, space exploration organisation, was separate to NASA. There was nothing to do with NASA, but it was a different organisation. And these people that travel into space and never returned were never heard from again, because they got lost up in space somewhere. But apparently, now this story could be true or not. It depends how you take it. It might not be true. Depends on your imagination. But years after that terrible thing, okay, another group of astronauts were training to be going up in space, to travel away in space on a journey, and they had to do some training in the space facility on Earth. Now the technology was much better. They was ahead. They had screens on the walls, special graphs, flashing lights, robotic machines that could control every part of the training, all the machines and things, the apparatus that they'd need. They had all kinds of training facilities for gravity, and they had to get used to it. The food that they'd be eating up in space tasted like paste shit, but they had to, train for it. Anyway, in one of the on one of the training sessions, they was asked to go through some doors as usual, but then they had to go through another door, a different set of doors. And they had to go in full space gear, and there was a team of 4 people it was, and they walked through these tunnels, these futuristic, very high-tech looking, super clean white tunnels with double doors, and they'd walk through. Anyway, there was a problem, like a malfunction. The doors locked and they couldn't get back through the doors, so they decided to keep walking through the tunnels. They had to walk slow-ish, in their space suits. And it was quite heavy and hard to walk around in there. But they walked through the tunnels, and they nearly got lost because there were so many different turns. Now, one of the group members was getting very nervous, and then he asked the other one, who was the leader, somewhat. He said, "I hope we're not going to be stuck in here." And the team leader, the captain, said, "No, we're going to find our way out of here. Don't be stupid. There must be another exit up here. It's a big training facility, yes, but we're astronauts. If we get lost here, then how are we ever going to find our way in space?" And the other guy said, "Yeah, maybe you're right." They walked a few steps further, and then what happened was the leader blinked his eyes. He blinked his eyes, felt like he had something in his eye, but he was okay, he blinked. And then he looked around and he saw his 3 team members dead on the floor. Their helmets were shattered and blood could be seen through them. Their faces had been destroyed. He was so nervous, and there was actually even blood spattered all over his spacesuit as well, a bit. He was so nervous, he didn't know what to do. He was also afraid that he would get blamed, and if he'd been seen on camera, or anyone had been watching, or if they'd blame him for this. He was also terrified as in what had happened to his 3 friends, team members, and what was going on. He tried to run as fast as he could. It was kind of hard, it was heavy in that suit. He tried to get away, he tried to run through the tunnels as slow as it was, but he tried to find a way out. Then he saw something at the end of one of the tunnels. It was all white in the tunnel, don't forget. All of these tunnels were white, very clean, very futuristic metal walls and doors. But he looked at the end and he saw the lights were flickering off and on, just like a strobe. And he saw another 4 spacemen in spacesuits. Who were they? They'd never been seen before anywhere, had they? They seemed to come back out from nowhere or something. Their spacesuits were different. They looked like an older version. They were very dirty as well, and kind of looking damaged. He waved to them anyway, and he said, "Hey, help, help." He called out, "Help," but there was no response. They stood there so still. At this point in time, he was trying to hold on to his, control his breath, regain his breath, because he was getting so nervous, the captain. He looked ahead, and they stared back at him. And he couldn't see them very clearly, but he could see that they were now slightly closer than they were a moment ago, but still standing there. He didn't see them take steps. He also could see through their helmets, which looked kind of broken, glass, black helmets, and for the visors, and he could see that the faces were all green, and so were the eyes. They looked demented. They looked lost in this space of the moment. Suddenly, all the lights went off, and the sound of a body could be heard dropping on the floor, and a last final breath. What happened? What on earth happened? Spooky, strange, the unknown. Was it true or not? Thanks for listening to this story from me, Wushu Richard. Now, don't ever let your feet leave the ground and your mind fly away. Take care.